Good day to all of you. Myself Rupashri, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Professional Management Studies at Christu Jayanti College. Today, in this video, we will quickly understand what are financial markets and services. Before we delve into the concept of what we are going to learn under the subject called financial markets and services, we will try to quickly understand why do we study this course. So dear all, let's quickly understand why does a person really need to know what are financial markets and institutions as a component, as a course into their curriculum. First and foremost, very interestingly, have you ever wondered how stock markets and companies work in the market? Have you heard about what is National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, shares, debentures, bonds, and many more? We have seen people trading in the market and making lots of money. Meanwhile, they also face risk too. So if you are a person who is wondering on how to invest into stock markets, companies, shares, debentures, and many more investment avenues, this is a course that you are looking for. Secondly, if you are a person who wants to build your career into the profile of banking, investments, and financial services, this financial markets and institutions course will provide you a basic outline of how does these entire banking, investment, and financial operations in India work overall. Let's say you are not a person who is going to do both. Okay, this course can also be viewed by a person who does not want to make a career but just stays at home, because this course teaches you how to be smarter enough by making personal financial decisions using real market knowledge. So it doesn't mean that this course basically fits for BBA students. It also fits in for other domain areas where people want to make money, work for themselves, and not work for money all throughout their life. So this course will basically make you understand your personal financial decisions on how could you invest your money and reap the benefit out of investing into different avenues. So come and witness this course on financial markets and institutions in order to make your money work for yourself instead you working for money always. Lastly, are you a person who is curious about global currencies and economies that are connected through financial systems? Yes, then this course is for you. If you want to understand how the currencies and economies all over the world in the stock markets are connected into financial systems and how do they contribute to the economic development of the country, this is one of the course that you're looking for. So with this basic guidelines and outline, we will quickly move on in understanding what are the objectives of this course and how it is being framed for. The first and basic outline or the objective of this course would be to understand the importance and functionings of the Indian financial system. As we are covering into the curriculum of financial markets and institutions, we are not looking into the global perspectives, but here we will understand how the financial system in India basically works and how important it is, what is the vital role played by the financial institutions in these markets, and what are the basic functions that these financial institutions or companies generally perform in the development of our society is the first objective of this course. Moving on, the second objective of this course is to acquaint you as students with different market conditions, its compliance, and various services that each of the markets offer. Now, on an example, for example, let's say when you talk about financial markets in India, one of the component of the financial market is your stock markets. But out of the 23 stock markets in India that are operational, we are aware of only two markets called the national stock markets and the Bombay stock markets, which is generally noted as NSE and BSE. Now, what is the reason for only these two markets being prominent? Yes. So these ideas and these compliances, what are the various services that these financial markets are offering to you as stakeholders or to the entire economy as stakeholders will be understood in this course. Thirdly, the course aims in understanding the role of the central bank and the monetary system in India. So we will also quickly understand the role of Securities Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI, and also RBI, the Central Bank of India, and how these monetary policies framed by these two domains play an important role in the financial markets and its operations is what we're going to understand. Lastly, this course will also provide you an insight into various financial institutions and the types of services that each of these financial institutions and services provide to you on a whole. As we have understood what are the objectives, we will quickly understand the outcome of this course. That is, once a student learns this particular subject called, understands this particular subject called financial markets and institutions, he or she will be able to replicate the following points that we are going to discuss as an output. First and foremost, you will be able to understand the role and the function of Indian financial markets. Secondly, you will also understand what is the basic structure of financial markets in India. How are they classified? What are the subcategories under them? How do each of these subcategories function is what we are going to analyze. Thirdly, we'll also learn about the various financial institutions that are listed in these financial markets. So when you talk about financial markets, we have money market, secondary market. Now, under money market, what are the instruments that are traded? And under secondary market, what are the instruments that are traded is what we're going to see as the outcome of the course. And at last, course outcome 4 tries to evaluate the role of the regulatory frameworks and compliance that, as I told you earlier, we'll quickly understand what is the role of SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India, and the Reserve Bank of India, in order to understand how the regulatory frameworks in the Indian system work, and how do they provide a hands-on to the financial markets. What is their role in enhancing the financial markets is what we are going to understand. And also we will be quickly analyzing about the functions a little bit on the international financial systems in global economic stability. Moving on, this would be the this would be the unit contents that we are looking for. Unit number 1 talks about the introduction to financial systems and markets, where you will quickly understand how the financial systems in India are classified, what are their components, why is it important, and how does it function, and the basic two combinations called money market and capital market. What are the different types of financial institutions operating in India? What is the relationship between financial markets and the institutions? What all services do they offer is what we are going to brief out in Unit 1. Moving on, Unit 2, we will analyze in depth on financial markets. There, we will learn about the different types of instruments under financial markets that are traded across. Okay, so under financial markets, we categorize financial markets into two, called money market and capital market. So this module basically focus only on money market instruments, where we are going to learn on what is money market, what are the different types of instruments that are traded in money market, how do you buy these money market instruments, how do they play a crucial role in the market, and what are repo rates that are very important when you buy, and whenever we do our personal finances, we generally approach a bank, whether it's an NBFC or a nationalized bank, for any kind of loans and advances that we require. It can be a personal loan, car loan, educational loan, whatever loan in that basis may be. Here, with that context, in order to buy a loan, we are going to analyze what are repo rates and reverse repos, and how these repo rates have an impact on the interest rates offered by banks. And at last, in this module, we'll also be talking about how do companies try to list their shares in the stock market, and why do the companies delist the shares in the market, and a little bit on what do you mean by foreign exchange markets. Unit number 3 talks on capital markets in India, which is another major category of financial markets. So as a part of capital market, here we will be understanding the major instruments that many of us are trading on or planning to invest, that is stock markets, mutual funds, derivatives, etc. So here in this module, we will have a brief understanding on shares, the different types of shares, and mutual funds, how mutual funds work, and also we will be learning about derivatives. So in simple, to say what are derivatives, We consume a lot of products on a day-to-day basis. It can be FMCG or it can be any kind of product. Let's say rice, wheat, oil, onions, tomatoes, anything that you take in the market. Now, have you ever thought on how these prices of these commodities are fixed in the market? No. So that is a market called derivatives market, where an underlying commodity that we consume on a day-to-day basis, maybe a wheat, maize, barley, oil, petrol, any kind of commodity that you name, are traded in the market called derivatives market, and hence the price of goods like commodities like petrol, diesel, the cooking oil, the wheat prices keep changing. That is because of the contract that is entered in the derivatives market. So that will also be dealt in unit number 3. Now, moving on to unit number 4, it talks about all the regulatory bodies that are in India, which helps the financial institutions in order to make policies and other regulatory frameworks. So here in unit number 4, we will be majorly talking about RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. As we know, Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of the country, which has the sole authority to prepare the monetary policy for the entire economy. Okay, so based on the RBI's guideline is what your NBFCs and commercial banks, regional rural banks, everything function. So therefore, we will try and understand this regulatory body called RBI in unit number 4. Now, unit number 5 talks about development financial institutions. In developmental financial institutions, these regulatory frameworks that are associated to stock markets or financial markets alone will be dealt. For example, AMFI, that is Association of Mutual Funds in India, which regulates all the guidelines for the operations of mutual funds. And AMFI is referred to as the regulatory body of mutual fund investments. Similarly, NABARD. Okay, it's a national bank for agriculture and rural development. So this bank is responsible to frame regulatory guidelines in order to develop the agricultural and rural developments of the banks. So similarly, we have various regulatory bodies as financial institutions that are operating in India, which provide clear-cut guidelines on why such companies should operate and what are the guidelines under these companies should operate. Therefore, here we will be learning about all the major regulatory frameworks that are associated to financial markets. The last unit, that is unit number 6, talks about the introduction to financial institutions, where we will have a glimpse on the international financial institutions also. That is how IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, World Trade Organization, that is WTO, all come and help hand in hand, or how all these international regulatory bodies come together in order to frame guidelines, in order to help each other, in order to help the economy, in order to help the developing countries, etc., will be analyzed. And most crucially, what is the role of all these international financial institutions in the development of the economy and its impact on global financial sustainability and development will be learned in unit number 6. So on a whole, this course on financial markets and institutions will provide you a clear guidelines on not only the regulatory bodies that are operating, but also will give you a lot many avenues and instruments that you could be aware of, and also invest into a lot of things, a lot of investments. And as I told you in the beginning of the video, at certain point of time in our personal life, we should make sure that the money work, the earned money that we have earned for a longer period of time, we invest it somewhere and it reaps out benefit. Okay, so the famous quote that I like personally is, make money work for yourself and don't work throughout your life for money. So you should be a wise investor in order to plan not only the company finances, but also your personal finances. So this course will give you a brief outline on helping you where all to invest, what are the regulatory bodies that are important, and basically it talks about the whole finance system in India. Thank you. So furthermore, we will continue in the other videos that are coming up. Thank you. Have a nice day.